Hi, I'm Jason Ray with SimplyHome with today's tech tip. Today we're going to be talking about door and window sensors, common applications for them, how to troubleshoot them, and then how to validate and test them using the back-end customer website. So we're going to start by looking at the two different types of door window sensors we offer. We offer a larger one and a smaller one. This large one, like you see here, it's going to have a longer battery life and a longer transmission, so it's typically utilized in most applications where they're really high frequency of use. We also have a smaller version, which you'll see right over here on this door. Again, same type of sensor. It's going to have a little bit shorter battery life and shorter transmission. These are generally used on refrigerators and windows and sliding glass doors, and sometimes on regular doors too. So the first thing we want to look at if you're going to troubleshoot your door and window sensor or install it is making sure that you have both parts of the sensor. So there's a sensor part, which is the large part here, and then there's the magnet part, which actually is the smaller part right here. And you need both of those in order for the sensor to work properly so that it can detect when the door or window or whatever device it's on is open or closed. So if you're missing one side of your sensor, please contact your SimplyHome customer support representative to get a new either magnet or sensor so that you can have that working properly. Once you have both sides of the sensor, we'll move on to the next part of the video and talk about how to reinstall a sensor and then validate through testing on the customer website. So now that we have both sides of our sensor, let's take a look at what's typically included with a sensor and then how to put it up. So with the smaller, what we call our micro sensor, we have, again, the two sides of the sensor, and then it also ships with some pre-cut double-sided tape and then also this mounting bracket for the sensor. We don't generally use this because it makes it easier to remove the sensor part of it, but it is included in the box. So what we generally do is actually just affix this double-sided tape right to the back of the sensor and right to the back of the magnet portion. On the larger sensor, you'll see that it actually comes shipped with screws. So we do recommend that you screw these sensors in to make sure that they stay secure. You can also use double-sided tape. So we recommend this tape. It's by 3M. You can find it at your local hardware store. It's an exterior grade, really resilient type of double-sided tape that works really well. So now let's look at how we actually mount these. So if you take a look at the sides of the sensors, you'll notice on the side that there is a little arrow on the side of the sensor, and there's a matching arrow on the side of the magnet. Those need to be lined up when you install them. So this would be a proper orientation for installation. You also want to keep in mind that you can't have a very wide gap. So if you try to install it with something like a gap like that, it won't work, it won't pick it up. You have about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch gap maximum between the magnet and the sensor for it to work properly. Same thing on the large sensor. It also has the arrow on the side and the arrow on the magnet, but the large sensor also has an arrow on the top. So you can use it both ways. The default is the side, and you actually have to choose if you're going to use the side or the top. Again, the default is the side, so when it comes shipped to you, it'll be on the side. If you need to move it to the top, please contact SimplyHome's customer support, and we'll walk you through how to make that change. Now if we go over and look at the door and how these are installed, we can look at the one we have up here right now, and you'll see that the sensor we have, that's about as much gap as you want to see in between the magnet and the sensor part. And you just simply take the double-sided tape off the back of the sensor and off of the back of the magnet and affix them to the corresponding locations, and then we'll get into testing. The only thing to keep in mind, and this is covered in the instruction guide that comes with the sensors, is if you're going to install the larger sensor using the screws, the best way to do that, it is a little bit tricky sometimes, especially when you're doing it for the first time. You have to open the sensor up, and you have to use the mounting plate that comes on the back of the sensor. But to do that, you simply, if you just press right above this little notch right there on the top, this top will release off. Then right below the battery, there's another release knob right here that lifts this circuit board right out, and then you will see the mounting holes for the screws right here. So to put that up on the door, if you want to come around here, we'll look at that real fast. So if we're going to affix it to this door right here, we'd actually just put this whole bracket up here after aligning it with our magnet. And then we would mark our holes right here, drill those holes, and then put our plate back, put our screws in, and then it's just a matter of snapping our circuit board back in and the top back on. So once this bracket's up, all you would have to do is slide this board back in, snap it into place, and then put the top back on. You have to put this side on first with a little notch, and then it'll snap back in together on this side. Once you have your sensor installed, the next step is actually verifying that it's working properly. You can do that on the SimplyHome customer website. So if you go to the door that you've just either installed or repaired, and you pull up the customer website, you can do that on your phone, on a nearby computer. You can simply open and close the door a few times. Now you're going to want to open the door and leave it open, and then check the status. So go over to your phone or your computer and make sure that it's registering as open. And you'll see the status light. If you go to My Home in the Sensors tab and find the sensor that you're working on, you'll see the status go from green when it's closed to yellow when it's open. And you'll also see the time on the right hand side update to the time when you opened it. So after you've verified that it is showing open, you're going to want to close it and leave it closed and verify that the website is showing it's closed as well. Sometimes we'll see that the sensor is out of alignment, so when the door is closed, it's not actually registering as closed on the website. So make sure that you walk through the website and look at the sensor information that's showing there to make sure that it's installed properly. Again, if you have any issues with getting your sensor installed or with anything else, please contact our customer service team at 877-684-3581.